Today I'm joined by Matt, who is a firefighter, a dad, and a husband. He wanted me to add that last one in there.
Yeah,
He's
don't
a
get me in trouble.
he didn't want to get him in trouble. Very busy man, and he's still able to crank out 5,000 plus per month selling used books on Amazon. And today we're going to discuss strategies to find books, strategies that have allowed him to scale his book business, what he thinks is the best way to build relationships. He spoke at Bookselling Boot Camp a while back, shared a lot of good strategies on how to build relationships. So we'll kind of harp on that again today. And for everyone that's here live, if you guys have questions, drop them in the chat below, and we can get Matt to answer them. But yeah, let's take a step back, and if you want to talk about how you got started and how you ramped up so fast, and give people some tips on how to get started.
Sure, absolutely. So, like most people, I was on the interwebs looking at different social media, and it was either a YouTube video, Instagram, TikTok, something popped up talking about selling stuff on Amazon. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Then it started popping up again. And I was like, well, let me look into this a little more. And I came across your page and Stephen Rakin's page and started diving into it more and looking into more of the stuff that you guys were doing. And it looked like something that I could do. As a firefighter, I work 24-hour shifts, which gives me 48 hours off. Now, I do have my family time, and like most firefighters, I have a second job. Well, for years, 20 plus years, I've been an instructor teaching EMT and paramedic. I ran a school for a while, and it just, having a new family with my amazing little 2-year-old, became a little overwhelming doing all of that. So I had to step away from the school for a while. And, that was a second income that we had and we got used to having. So having all these pop-ups of selling used books on Amazon and having more time, I was like, you know what, let me look further into it. So I did like a lot of people, got myself a subscription to Scout IQ, went and got my scanning app or my scanner itself for the app. Went and got uh, what was it? Oh, my Amazon business account. I did the pro account because I wanted to make sure I got that prime deals, and I had to make sure I was doing FBA because if I had all that stuff sitting around the house, my wife would have killed me. So I got started. I went to the thrift store.
Can you explain what FBA is to people? Because some people might not know what you meant by
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the two different ways of selling on Amazon are FBA, which is fulfilled by Amazon, and then there's FBM, which is fulfilled by merchant. So fulfilled by merchant is similar to like eBay, where you list it on the site, you get a sale, I have to package it, ship it off to the customer, deal with customer service, returns, storage of the product at my home, all that stuff. With fulfilled by Amazon, I pack everything into one box, make sure it's under 50 pounds, ship it off to Amazon. They keep it in their warehouse. So when there's a sale, they go package it for me, pick it off the shelf, ship it to the customer. They deal with customer service. They even take care of sales tax for me, and they take care of the whole process, and I don't have to store it in my house.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why most people like FBA, because you don't have to have tons of books on your shelves, in your living room, behind the toilet seat, wherever you store your inventory.
Right. Wherever you can fit it.
Yeah.
So I started off doing that. I went to Goodwill. I started scanning, came across some stuff I probably shouldn't have grabbed at first, but I was learning. And, one of the things that I saw a lot was feed the beast. So my goal was at least 2 boxes a week. I was going to get them in. I was going to ship them off. And it actually didn't take as much time as I thought it would. I went in there. I spent maybe an hour at each store going through because I was still learning. I was slow at the process, going through, scanning the books, trying to figure out if I was going to take them or not. Got them home, listed them, put them up there on Amazon, boxed them up, shipped them off. So 2 boxes a week weren't too bad. So I said, well, you know what? If I can get 2 boxes a week, let me go up to 3. So I started setting goals for myself that way. And that term, feed the beast, made a tremendous difference in my overall sales. When I first sent in my first couple boxes, I was like most of the people in the group where you see them posting, "Hey, I sent my box in. It says it's received. I haven't gotten anything. My inventory's at zero." So, I was one of those that were freaking out.
Yeah.
It took, I think
To this day, you'll drive yourself crazy looking at Amazon check-ins. If you look at it, it automatically takes 2 times longer for it to get checked in.
It's like watching water boil.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
takes forever. I think my first box I sent in was almost 6 weeks before inventory started posting.
Mhm.
And it seems like the longer you've been doing it, the faster they check it in, but that could just be me. Because again, I don't watch it anymore like I used to.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, like I sent a shipment the other day and it got checked in like 2 days.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not always like that, but it's nice when it is.
It really is. And so I've noticed now I'm starting to get sales of some of my product before it's even fully checked in.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't getting that at the beginning.
Yeah. So like they see that you have the inventory inbound and then they'll make it active for the customer to purchase it. So
yeah. And it doesn't even show available on my inventory, but I'm still getting a sale.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Those are probably on listings that don't have that much FBA competition too.
Right.
So Amazon's like, all right, like let's give the sale to the incoming unit to our warehouse rather than giving the sale to a merchant, do a merchant fulfill it at home.
Right. Yeah. I'll talk about some of those that I got recently that have really helped me with my sales.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that. I shipped all that in. And once I got to about, I would say 400 to 500 books in my inventory, that's when I started noticing my sales picking up. So at that point, I'm like, okay, this is actually working. I'm starting to get sales. I remember running to my wife. I got a sale. I got a sale. It was like, I don't know, $14. And I was so excited. And she's like, oh my God, that's amazing. That's great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, and I still, certain things I sell, like if I get a high-end book, I might sell for $150. It's still get that same feeling like I got my first sale.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So I just started feeding the beast and I maintain right around 1,000 to 1,200 books.
So how did you take a step back? How did you find most of your profitable books? Was it through the thrift stores? Because I know now you're like at Bookselling Bootcamp, you talked about relationships and stuff, but at the very beginning, did you just like go to Goodwills and stuff?
Yeah. So I started out with the Goodwills and started going to all these thrift stores. And I have a couple of like little private, smaller thrift stores. And I started going to them. They started noticing me and seeing me more frequently. So I started talking to them. And one of the biggest things is getting relationships with the people at the thrift stores, getting to know who they are, letting them know who you are. And as you build that relationship, you start getting better access. I started getting in some of the places where they'll tell me they've got a box of stuff that came in. They'll let me scan it all before they even put it out.
Yeah.
So,
and did you was that just natural for you, or did you hear someone kind of give those tips?
I actually on one of your first boot camps that you started doing, I think it was on one of your first boot camps.
You guys got to show up to the Bookselling boot camps.
Yeah. And it was the smaller boot camps you were doing. It was just like
the AMC book clubs.
That's what it was. So it was just you. You didn't have any guests. You were just talking about different strategies you used. And one of the things you talked about, I remember, was going to the colleges and talking to the professors. And, I taught for years at one of the colleges. So, after that, I was calling everybody I knew, texting everybody, hey, you got any extra books? So that worked out for me as well. Utilizing relationships of people that I already knew.
Yeah. Dude, once you get backroom access at a thrift store that actually has fresh inventory, that's when it really clicks. Because then it's like, oh, this is how it should feel. Like every third or fourth book I'm scanning is profitable.
Right.
But if you watch a bunch of TikToks and YouTube videos and you go out to a Goodwill that 5 other people went to earlier that day, you're going to be like, this is a scam. This is fake. It doesn't work. So you picked up quickly that you need to go upstream. You need to think, where were the books before they were on the shelf? Okay, they were in the back room. Where were they before they were in the back room? Oh, they were in the professor's office or they were in somebody's house. How can you get all the way back there first? That's the hardest work to do. But once you get the books from those people or from those sources, it's the easiest work to do to scan them and get the profit.
Right. Absolutely. And then one of the things that I believe it was you had mentioned was posting ads on like Nextdoor, Facebook Marketplace, things of that nature, of doing free book pickups. You know,
Yeah.
so and I can't remember who did. Somebody posted one of their ads that they had used. So I kind of
It
modeled.
might have been Mike. Mike has a really good one, I think. Mike, the used book guy. And shout out to
Very
Fields of
possible.
Profit too. Fields of Profit coming in here. He's a big online arbitrage guy.
Oh yeah,
He'll
I've been
give you
following both of them for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use Mike's
Templates.
templates and stuff on my what do you call it, on my free book ad.
Gotcha. Yeah. So are you using Nextdoor then?
Absolutely. Nextdoor has been amazing for me. I started out with one ad on there, and probably within a week, I had 10 people contact me.
And are you consistently, I think a big mistake people make is posting it one time and being done with it. Are you like doing it every other week or something like that?
Yeah, I do it probably every 3 weeks, and I change the ad. I don't post the same ad. So, it's the same content, but different images.
Yeah. And I think even like posting selfie pictures with yourself or a picture of the books or maybe what you're doing with the books, people want to see your business. And those are also good ways. So it's like a story. Like Facebook loves stories, but Nextdoor is kind of like a social media app too. Like Facebook, if you post a picture of you, like I posted one recently, hey, I'm going to the Grand Canyon with my mom. We're in a parking lot. And then the next picture is me at the Grand Canyon. And then the next picture is a video of her reacting to the Grand Canyon. It's like Facebook loves that. Nextdoor, I don't know how advanced their algorithms are, but if people see you posting this, they're like, oh, this guy's got a book business. Maybe he's a scammer. Maybe he's not. We don't know. And then they see you posting another picture of you with the books. They're like, okay, this guy actually got the books from someone. And then, showing what you're doing kind of builds a story, builds trust.
Right. And to add on to that, one of the things that I put on my ads was that I use the books that I collect, because I do give them back to thrift stores. I give them back to one specific library that I don't source from. Obviously, the thrift stores I give them to, I don't source from.
Yeah.
But I also fill the little library boxes, the free little library boxes.
Yeah.
And we've got a bunch. I'm in South Florida, and we got a bunch throughout the area. So I'll actually drive around one day a month. I'll go around and just refill some of those boxes. If there's some damaged books, I'll take them out. I'll get rid of them, and then I'll refill them. And I'm not gonna lie, I scan what's in the boxes.
Oh yeah, you got to. Just because a book's profitable doesn't mean it's good to read, and just because a book's not profitable doesn't mean it's not good to read.
Exactly.
You might have the best-selling book on earth, and it's not profitable on Amazon because it's only $6. It's a fiction book. There's hundreds of sellers, thousands of sellers, and you can put that in a free library, and it's the best book ever for some person to pick up and read. And then there's some weird Ohio science book for a school that's going to make you $200 profit. Who wants that in Florida? So it's a good trade.
Absolutely. But I've actually had people ask, what do you do with the books? So I posted on there that I put them in the free little library boxes, and I actually took some selfies of me refilling the books in the boxes.
Dude, that's amazing. You're ahead of the curve.
It was great. And people loved it. And I doubled the amount of contacts I got after doing that, after posting it. It actually got to a point where I had to start putting people off, where I can't come this week.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So that story can go one of two ways. Your story was great. You used the little libraries to your advantage. I met this guy in Atlanta, Georgia, 3 years ago. Caleb Roth put on a conference, Turn the Page conference. And it was like a week or two after the conference, this guy started doing this. He started going to free libraries, and somebody saw him. It must have been a giant free library. Like, they're different sizes, but this one must have been like pretty big. I don't know how, like, they usually don't get that big, but this one had a lot of books, enough books for him to like put them in his car and make people notice. So he was seeing all the books. He was just like gung ho. He was probably taking too many books, like, that weren't even profitable because anyway, he took them all, filled up his car. Someone went by in the neighborhood and snapped a picture of him. And so then they posted it, and they were like, look at this reseller taking all the library books, blah, blah, blah. And he just got a ton of bad publicity, like 100+ comments, likes. And I thought it was hilarious because people don't really understand. I mean, he kind of was abusing the system. you have the right idea. You're giving and taking,
Right.
and people love that. People don't realize that the 90% of the books that you get from Nextdoor, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, whatever sources you decide to put the free book ads, 90% are going to go back to the free libraries. 90% are going to go back to the Goodwills. They're going to go back to these places, so you're only taking 5 or 10% to sell online. And even then, you're taking a book and connecting it to the most interested reader who's willing to pay for the book. You're making a profit. You're going to buy more books. It's good for the economy. So I could go on and on.
Right. And one of the things that, I've had people ask me, oh, you're selling the books? I'm like, well, yeah, I use that money to recoup my costs for fuel, my time, everything else. I've never had anyone have a problem with it.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're upfront, if you try to hide it and you're weird about it, then they might have a problem with it. But if you're upfront, maybe a few people we turned off, but that's not your target customer anyway.
Right.
Becky's saying Nextdoor's been changing policies. I got shut out a year ago, but the policy changed. Are you doing paid ads? You're not doing paid ads. You're just posting, right?
I'm doing, I was doing both. I did a couple paid ads, and funny thing was the paid ads did nothing for me. I got a handful of clicks here and there, but it wasn't enough to even justify doing the paid ads. So the things I just post free book pickup. I haven't had any issues with them contacting me of any policy conflicts or anything like that.
Yeah, the key is to not be you want to be the least spammy as possible. And if you follow the strategies that Matt just laid out, posting pictures of what you're doing with the books, creating a story, being more authentic and organic, and actually showing real pictures rather than just perfect cut and paste templates and ads. While those are good, like if you show you're a real person, it's going to be so much less likely to be reported. So I've been banned from my neighborhood Facebook group in Tennessee 2 times now. One time when I started my landscaping company like 6 years ago, I think they banned me. They got mad at me for putting letters on the mailboxes because we put a bunch of really shiny, glossy letters, and then it rained, and they threatened to sue me. But multiple times I've gotten kicked out of the neighborhood group for my book business for that. And it's probably when I'm a little bit too spammy and I'm too businessy. And so step back and be a little bit more authentic and less businessy, and it usually works out. If you can get any type of engagement on a post, that's going to show people that it's not a spam post. But if there's nobody commenting or anything, you could get taken down. But just keep trying over and over again. Make new Nextdoor accounts. Don't give up. You're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
Mike says I thought of filling up free libraries with my duds and putting a business card in everyone. Yeah, I mean that's what Matt's
not a bad idea.
Yeah, he's just not putting the business cards in, but you could.
Yeah, thanks for the idea, Mike. The other thing that I do is Facebook Marketplace. There's a lot of yard sale groups.
Yeah.
And I post in those yard sale groups. And what I've also done is go in, find when the yard sales are, contact those people the day of, and ask them, hey, if you got anything left over, any books, I'll come take them to Goodwill, whatever, for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's worked out pretty well on getting some free books.
Yeah, books become a problem real quick for people who are moving, for people who are cleaning up libraries. It shifts real quick from, oh, these are really valuable merchandise, let me make as much profit as possible, to holy crap, these things are heavy, they're in boxes, how can I get rid of them? And then you become the solution to their problem, which is moving their books.
Yep. And again, gaining that those relationships, I started doing library sales.
Yeah.
And library sales, I think Steve had posted something about the book sale website. What's it?
Booksalefinder.com.
That's it, Book Sale Finder. So obviously I went on that, started looking, found a couple close to me, started talking to the people at the libraries. I didn't even realize that there was this whole Friends of the Library group that sells books from libraries. I didn't even know you could buy them at the library. No idea. So I started hitting libraries after that. That was great for me because then you have that person that you're seeing all the time and building that relationship. I have 3 libraries now that I'm doing consignment with. So when they get books in that they're like, okay, this might be something good, they'll contact me. I'll come in, scan it, check it, and we'll list it. And we're doing a 70-30 split. So I get 70, they get 30.
Mhm.
It's a lot more than they're going to
Nice.
get selling it at their own little sale or even at their larger book sale. And they're making a bigger profit that
You're a
way.
master negotiator, 70-30. That's as good as you can get.
I know. I was lucky. It's worked out every time I've mentioned it because when I tell them how much that 30% is going to be, they all say the same thing. Well, that's double or triple what I would make selling it here,
Yeah.
and they don't have to do any work. I'm doing all the work for them.
Yeah.
But in doing that, I actually made the contact and the relationship with one lady who ran the Friends of the Library group, and she contacted me at the end of the sale, even though I had gone there, I had scanned, but you're not going to scan. Well, for me, I was there 5 hours and I didn't even scan every single book. I got the ones I wanted. At the end of the sale, she contacted me and said, hey, listen, I've got 40 boxes of books. You want them? She goes, they're all going to get dumped in recycling bins for the city if you don't come get them. So absolutely. Went, picked them all up. It took me two trips, but I got them all and went through them. And I had another $1,000 in profit.
Yeah. It depends on what kind of game you want to play. If you're willing to move, you're a firefighter, so like you work out like all day, so you're used to it. Some people don't want to deal with lifting a bunch of heavy books, and so you always keep in your mind, what game do you want to play? Be very careful in the book space, because if you play the game of taking on a lot of books, it can be a tremendous amount of work if you get in over your head. It might sound great to have 10,000 books, but then when you have to actually process them, you're like, holy crap, this is a ton of work. So, but on the flip side, feel that pain that you feel having to carry all those books and move them, and use that as a negotiation tactic, because the other person on the other side of the coin, where they have to get rid of all the books, and instead of you paying them for the books, they should be paying you to remove the books,
right?
Or at least get them for free, So, yeah. And also, speaking of donating books to different sources, like donating them to Goodwill and not going to the Goodwill, I abused that strategy. What I did was I took all my books to one used bookstore called McKay's, and that's where I found all my books. So I took literal like pallets of books a week to them, and I was getting paid like Monopoly money, trade credit. So they would give me trade credit, and then I would go in the store. This is tax-free money, and they put 10,000 new books on the shelves every day. And so my name of the game was, let me just look for the new books. I don't care if they're putting my books back on the shelf, because I'll just scan through them real fast. It was my goal to scan. I didn't always hit this, but it was my goal to scan 1,000 books per hour. So I would just go crazy, scan. I would see new books. I would buy cartfuls of books every day, and I would see my books on the shelves. But for me, at that scale, it didn't matter too much. I understand why you wouldn't want to just donate all your books to the thrift store that you're going to go to the most, but that's kind of playing devil's advocate, that sometimes it does work out.
Yeah. And you know what? Maybe I need to look into some of the local bookstores and maybe start doing that, where I can bring in to them and get credit.
Yeah.
I haven't even thought of that strategy.
Where are you located again? What part of Florida?
I'm in Sunrise, Broward County.
Okay.
I know you used to be down here, right?
Yeah, Miami. I don't know if they have any stores. I don't think I've seen them. Maybe Second and Charles might be near you.
I'll look.
Second and Charles is a good one on the East Coast. Powell's is on the West Coast. McKay's is in the South. Half Price Books, if you happen to have one of those.
I just did my first box to Powell's from my duds.
Yeah, they pay the most.
Yeah,
but they're also the most particular. So if you send them a book with scratches, they won't pay you for it. Whereas Sell Back Your Book will basically pay you for everything.
Yeah, I'm looking at them too for my next one.
Yeah. You haven't sent to Sell Back yet?
I have not.
Okay.
I just did Powell's for my first one.
Are you looking at, like, when you scan with Scout IQ, are you looking at that Sell Back Your Book price?
Yeah, I just recently started looking at that because my main focus was just get them out, get them to Amazon, and go. So, like when I got all those books from those 40 boxes, it took me a good 4 days to get through them all, but now I was getting rid of them. So, after a week and a half sitting in the garage and my wife having to climb over them to get to her workout equipment, I don't leave books laying around very long.
Yeah. 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 So I think you can actually turn on audio notifications if the sell back your book price is like close to what your
Oh,
Amazon.
really? I have to
Yeah.
look at that.
Go to settings. It's within the app. Go to settings. You can turn on some type of audio cue. But man, I mean, if Amazon's going to pay you 4 and sell back your book's going to pay you 1 and you
Right.
got the book for free, these days I would send it to sell back your book, because if you send it to Amazon, yeah, you might make 4, or it drops $3 in price and you're left with 1. You're not going to get the 1 for another month or two.
Right.
And if you happen to have to dispose of the book, or Amazon
Right.
loses it,
It's at a loss.
you're out $2.
Right.
So I think people should be paying more attention to those prices.
I noticed somebody asked about Craigslist. I honestly have not posted any ads on Craigslist yet. Just not any reason, just haven't done it. The main two I've been using is Facebook Marketplace and Nextdoor.
Yeah. Craigslist is good too. Go to wanted by owner, and you can post a free ad in there. I think that's what it is, wanted by owner. And you can also scroll through all the book postings they have.
Okay.
Me too. I'm sending 25% of all my books back to sell back. Yeah, I think you guys should.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to start doing that.
So I want to ask you a question for the complete beginner, and I've asked all my guests this. What are your total sales on Amazon? Do you know?
My total to date,
or just like lifetime? Yeah. So
let's see.
When did you start again?
I started about a year ago.
Okay. What do you think? 50,000, 30,000?
I'm just under 50,000.
50,000. Okay. So usually I ask, what's the fastest way to 100,000? I can still ask that. What do you think the fastest way, now that you have experience, if somebody wants to get to 100,000 in sales, what do you think the fastest way to achieving that is? But before we dive into that, I do have to talk real quick about restrictedinventory.com. If you guys have restricted textbooks,
grind hard, well done, sir, and welcome to the freaking Well Show.
We will sell them for you at a 50-50 split. All you got to do is go to restrictedinventory.com, scan in your books. Literally will tell you how much profit you make sending them to us. We sell them for you. Once they sell, you get 50% profit. Pretty soon, Scout IQ is going to roll this out to where, just like sell back your book shows you the buyback price, it's going to show you, if you scan a restricted book, rather than leaving that $80 profit biology book on the shelf, you can see that, oh, you would make $40 profit sending to restrictedinventory.com, and you can pay, $5 in the store for that book and still make $35 profit. So restrictedinventory.com. Let's get back to the pod. How to make $100,000 as an Amazon bookseller the fastest way. What's your opinion on how to approach that?
Well, before I get to that, I just downloaded Restricted Inventories app. I got a bunch of books to sell to you that I bought as a eBay to Amazon flip, not realizing, or they became restricted after I bought them.
Yeah.
So we'll be
so you can build shipments in the app, but you can also, you'll be able to build shipments from Scout IQ now. So
okay.
Scout IQ, you'll be able to click on the restricted, add it to your batch, complete the shipment, get your label. You guys cover shipping costs. We cover prep costs. We don't charge you anything for prepping, cleaning, checking for counterfeits. Don't send us counterfeit books, but some people do, and we'll catch them for sure. So
nice.
Yeah.
All right. Quickest way to 100,000. What I would basically do different is be more selective. When I first started, it was anything that turned green on Scout IQ, I was sending it in. And then the other thing I would say is adjust your triggers. Don't go by the default triggers. That's what I was trying to think of before. I used Mike's triggers. I've actually adjusted them a little bit since I changed them up. But yeah, definitely be more selective. Don't just grab a book and sell it because you're going to make $2, because that book could sit forever. Go for higher profit books, $5, $6, especially with the Amazon fees now going up. Definitely look for those higher profit books, because if you do mark them down, you're not in a negative by the time it does sell. So I would definitely say that would be one. Second is get those relationships. Talk to people when you're at these stores. Don't be afraid to talk to them. These people working at thrift stores and everything else, they're bored. They're stocking shelves. They're doing whatever. They want to have a conversation with somebody. Be friendly. Be open. Talk to them. Tell them what you're doing. A lot of times they'll be more than happy to let you get in the back and get those books, because that's less that they've got to come bring out and put on the shelf. They're not going to break their back because you're taking half of them.
Exactly.
So definitely build those relationships. I would say those are probably the two biggest things to get to that 100,000 quicker. Because I changed my strategy from getting those cheaper books to those higher profit now, and that's what pushed me up to that 5,000 and over a month.
What do you think has been like your most profitable source?
I would say probably the library sales.
Yeah.
Library sales have been very good with the books that I've gotten. And I would say the free books as well, because one, I'm not paying anything for them. So it's all profit. And depending on the source will dictate how profitable they are. Like recently, I just had one lady that was a doctor. So I got a lot of medical books that I was able to resell. I had another lady that was an attorney. Law books are great.
Yeah.
Then the one I was going to mention to you, which I found, or they found me on Nextdoor, was a gentleman who used to be a preacher, had his own church, had to close down the church and whatever the circumstances were, and he needs to get rid of all his books. Well, he's got probably 4,000 religion books. And and I'm sure other people do, religion books are very profitable and they sell great.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not the guy that's going to go in and say, okay, this book's going to sell for $80. I'll give you $1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a karma guy, and if it's going to sell for $80, I'm going to offer him $10 for the book, because it's all based on what it could sell at.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've had a couple people that I keep their number. They contact me over and over and bring me more books. I've had some people where they've given me a book that sold a lot higher than I thought, and I'll contact them and send them another $20.
Mm-hmm.
But that keeps them coming back, and
Exactly.
it keeps them referring me to other people.
Yeah, that's the thing I love about consignment too. If you do consignment with people, you're building trust.
Yes.
And one of the best ways to reach back out to somebody and remind them of you is to send them money. And so when you do consignment, you make an agreement. You say, hey, I'm going to send this I'm going to sell these for you. You get the books, and then 2 months later, you send them a check, and they're like, holy crap, this person holds their word, which is rare these days. And then that's way better than, getting their books and then messaging them a month later and say, hey, do you have any more? When you haven't paid them at all. The best follow-up is sending them the money, and then naturally they're going to be like, I want to send you more stuff.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what happened with the first library consignment I did. I got those books, I listed them, and I think it sold within 2 weeks. And I contacted her. I said, hey, I sold one of the books. Where do you want me to send the money to? And she's like, really? It sold already? Mm-hmm. And she was just shocked that I was contacting her and actually paying her for the book, because I think she thought, she only gave me 3 books. Since then, she's given me probably another 20. Yeah,
that's good. One thing I will say is be careful. Don't pay people too early. Wait for the return period for the book to be over with. Running restricted inventory. I remember one time somebody sold a $600 CD set, and it was like the only item they sent. And I was like, if I pay her $250 right now, then they could return it, and then I'm out $250. So that's when I made the rule. I only pay for items that have passed that 30-day time frame.
That makes sense.
Yeah. What advice what's kind of like your game plan for attacking library sales? Because some people might be listening to this, and there might be a 3-day library sale that they find from booksalefinder.com. And they're like, I'm just going to go on day 2, and I'm going to go in and scan what I need. Can you talk about like what people should be doing to prepare for these library sales?
Stretch, get in shape, get the elbows going, because you got to push your way in.
Yeah.
I did a
How tall are
library
you?
sale.
Like 6'2", 6'3"?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I'm a little guy. I'm 5'10".
Oh, okay. I thought
Yeah.
you were taller. I'm like, people are
Yeah,
standing away
it's
from
the
you.
angle. It's the angle. But I did a library sale in Orlando. It was my first one that I did. I had delusions of grandeur. I went and rented a SUV because I was going to bring back 500 boxes of books, and I wound up with 3 boxes that I could have fit in my little Kia.
Yeah.
But I made over, and I actually sold almost all of them. I made almost $1,000 on them. But getting there had to be at least 20 to 25 other booksellers there. And I expected a couple, but I didn't expect that many. So one of the things that I did was when I went in, I didn't follow the crowd because it was, 6 people deep in one shelf and they're all fighting, trying to get their spot and everything else. I went to what everybody says not to. I did fiction, and I went to religion because nobody went to religion, which I was shocked.
Yeah.
I did really well in religion, but I actually found quite a few fiction books that sold well.
Yeah.
It's not the norm, I know, but it was either I hit where I could actually scan, or I got in there and tried to scan 1 or 2 books here or there that nobody else has already touched. And then what I did was I went back through after the majority of the people left and found those books that didn't have barcodes.
Yeah.
So I went in and took my time and went in and scanned the ISBNs, or actually looked for the ISBNs.
Yeah.
So that was my first
What's your flow for that? Are you using Scout IQ, OCR? Are you using Amazon Seller app?
Yeah, no, I'm using Scout IQ.
Okay, nice. And just for anyone that doesn't know, like, you can take a book that doesn't have a barcode. Let's say this barcode didn't exist, and you can actually scan the number with your camera. You can scan the number, and it'll take that number and put it in your phone, and it's pretty accurate. Like, it works 99% of the time.
Yeah, it's usually really good. So I went through, I take my time, and basically what I did, I found a shelf, go through them, and just set all the ones that didn't have barcodes off to the side, and then just did them all one at a time, and then put them back on the shelf. So that was my first big book sale, library book sale. And like I said, I spent, total time was about 8 hours because I'm down in South Florida driving to Orlando. So my drive time up, the amount of time I spent fighting people to scan books, and my drive time back. So I averaged about $100 an hour for that day.
Did you get there pretty early?
Oh yeah. I got there about an hour, about 45 minutes before the bookstore opened, or the library opened. And yeah, there was already a line.
Yeah. Did you buy a Friends of the Library pass?
I did while I was there, which was great because their next library sale they had a pre-sale day only for Friends of the Library members.
Yeah. A lot of library sales do that because us booksellers can get pretty crazy. And so they have like a library sale for the members. It's not really for the members, it's for the Amazon sellers just to go and get crazy. So yeah, people get crazy at those sales, man. Like it's intense.
I got recently with one of my local libraries talking to, they had a booth at one of the farmers markets, and I was talking to them and asking about their upcoming library sale. And I basically said, hey, would you like some help getting set up? And they're like, yeah, we're looking for people to help all the time. I said, well, do you mind if I scan while I'm helping you set up? And they were perfectly fine with it. So volunteering to help set up got me in the door, basically backdoor access to a library sale.
Yeah. I think you guys should always offer to help set up, because even if they don't let you scan the books, they're going to like you, and it could lead to more opportunity. They'll let you know when there are more books. Maybe there's a consignment opportunity. There's a lot of different things that can come from that.
Yep.
Speaking of that, I want you to kind of talk about how you land these consignment deals and how you structure them. And because the cool thing about consignment is you're getting books not for free, but you're not paying for them. And so your cash flow, theoretically, you could consign with every library in America today, and it's not going to affect your cash flow at all because you're not buying the books. But if you had to buy every book from libraries that were profitable right now, you'd
Right.
be spending millions and millions of dollars. So, but before we get into that, I want to talk about GoToLister, guys. If you guys don't have GoToLister, it's the fastest listing software on the planet. Here's what Steve Rankin has to say about
The
it.
number one thing I love about it most is it helps me list and process my items that much faster. And as you know, if you want to grow your Amazon business, speed is the name of the game. If you're thinking about selling on Amazon or you're already selling and you want to be able to grow your business quicker, definitely check out GoToLister. Appreciate you, Avery, for creating the software, and it's really helping me grow my business. Much love.
So my Amazon business has cranked out close to $28,000 in profit over the last 30 days. And I'm able to see that easily in my GoToLister dashboard. Unlike other softwares that are out there right now, we don't require you to upload any documents or anything. We don't require you to download anything from Amazon. It's all within GoToLister. You can easily see how much profit you're making each month. And if you use GoToLister to list all your products and you put the buy cost in, you can see that and see, oh, I made $5,000 profit last month. Who cares about sales? At the end of the day, it's how much money you're taking home. So GoToLister not only allows you to list products faster, it's factually the fastest listing software on the planet. There's nothing faster than it. Like we program this so even if your Wi-Fi is going slow or sometimes Amazon's system goes slow, you can still scan as fast as you want, and it queues everything up for you and processes it as Amazon receives the data. So back to the podcast, consignment tips.
All right. So again, like we talked about before, it's building that relationship. You know, you got to talk to that person running that Friends of the Library system or sales. Let them know what you're doing. They all know who book scanners are. They have dealt with many book scanners. The lady at the first one that I'm dealing with, she has like 7 guys that come in there. They book scan, and she knows what niches they're looking for because, you know, they're looking for certain types of books. Whereas I'll go in, I'll scan the whole damn book library, you know? So, you know, talk to them, get to know them, get their trust, become friends with them. You know, I wound up getting her cell number so we can go back and forth and discuss, you know, when she does get books in. And that's what helped me get to that point where I just threw out there, hey, you got a couple books here that are worth more money than I'm willing to give you right now. You know, I'll give you $5 for this, but if we work together, I could sell this for you and you can get $20 on this book. Because it was actually a book they were selling for $5 that resold for 60, you know, or 75, whatever it was. So I gave her $20 on that book, and she was overwhelmed, happy as could be. And that right there started that relationship of getting in the door, being able to get more books from her to do that consignment.
Yeah. And then in terms of structuring it, what are you doing to like check payments, sales? Are you running numbers once a month? Are you paying them once a month?
So when I list them, I actually changed my SKU so I know where they came from. So each library, I have a different system where I list it, post the book. So then I'll just do a search for all those SKUs with the beginning of, you know, WBL or whatever it is. Then I do it once a month to check to see if I've had sales on their books. But I'm still one of those guys that checks my phone every day. Oh, I got sale. Okay, what sold? Oh, I could tell by the SKU right there what it was.
Right. Yeah. And
I also track them on a spreadsheet.
Yeah. Yeah. There's lots of spreadsheets out there. Basically, the most important thing is whatever you guys are using to list your books, make sure you're indicating where the book came from. And if it's from a specific person or library, I think it's helpful to put it in the SKU. But even if you don't put it in the SKU, at least make sure your listing software has a note of this SKU is connected to this person. GoToLister does that for you. Other softwares allow that too. You can export that data. You can put it in a spreadsheet. Shout out the Book Flipper. He's got a great tracking spreadsheet you can use for consignment. So, but yeah, if you master that skill of doing consignment, then if a huge opportunity presents itself, you can spend $0 and you can make a ton of money, you know, because it's zero investment up front.
It's almost like doing the free book pickups. You pay a little more when you do sell it, but you usually get better quality books doing the consignment.
Exactly. My Achilles heel is that I want to read some of the books that I find. Do you have that problem too?
No, I'm not a big reader.
Yeah.
I read my books that I needed to become a firefighter and a paramedic, and that was about it.
You look at this more as just like a hustle. You're not
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's a blessing. It's a blessing because I love reading books. I like listening to books more now these days, but it's definitely an issue. Like when you stop and like look at the book and open it and like
Right.
get obsessed with it.
I do find that I come across some books where I'm like, man, this book is like really cool. You know, it might be an older book or something that you just don't see every day. And you know, man, this is so cool. And a couple of them I come across where I'm like, I don't want to give that to the thrift store, even though it won't sell, but
yeah,
I have nowhere to put it.
Yeah, there's some weird books out there too. Like my mom came home with a bunch of sex books one time, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
you know, like, but she's like, nobody's in that section. So I'm like, you got a good point.
Yeah. So on my last, ironically you say that, on my last free book pickup, sweetest little old lady in her, I would say late 70s. Her and her husband are moving over to Fort Myers, over to the West Coast because it's, you know, quieter, it's slower. It's more of the retirement area now for South Florida. So I'm like, okay. She's like, I got some stuff. Do you take DVDs? Do you take CDs? I'm like, yeah, I take, you know, any media, whatever you got. So I went over, picked up 4 boxes. 3 of them wound up being DVDs and CDs, and 1 box filled with books. Go through, I'm scanning, get to the DVDs, scanning, come across 3 DVDs of hardcore porn. Like hardcore porn. And I was like, wow, grandma's getting it.
Yeah. They weren't profitable? Were you restricted?
No, these look like somebody printed them themselves. They almost like a sticker on the DVD itself. Yeah. They were dirty.
Man, what year was it from?
I would say probably 90s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you were looking over and grabbing it.
Oh no. I got rid of those. No.
I haven't watched it yet, but
yeah. It was 5 hours. I didn't have 5 to spend that day.
You have to listen to it. Get the audio version. Luke says, I haven't read a book in a few years, but I have 61K plus in my first year. I've sold 61K. $61,000 worth of books, Luke, or 61,000 books? It'd be impressive if somebody sold 61,000 books their first year. I'm pretty sure $61,000 worth of books.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, there's like monsters out there that listen to the Bookselling Monsters podcast, and they do massive volume. Becky says, I just got a Catholic book about sex. Just listen today. Haha, go to lister, of course. Hey, let's get it.
There it is.
We gotta convince
Home movies.
home movies. We gotta get you on the go-to lister train, man.
It's gonna happen.
But yeah, I'm gonna eventually peer pressure.
You know, it's one of the things in the fire service is we hate the way things are, but we don't like change.
Yeah, nobody likes change. The hardest thing for me to do is to get people to use go-to lister that are using other softwares.
And that's the thing. I started out with another software that I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to make that transition, even though I know GoToLister has so many other things that I like. And
it's getting better and better. And like you and Fields of Profit have both said in the last day that you would like. Actually, you didn't say this, but he wanted to be able to have the option, basically, to pay virtual assistants a portion of the profit for items sold to incentivize them to find better products, which is the same exact thing as doing consignment with a library. Mathematically, what you're saying is this source gave me X profit, and we're going to pay this amount to them. Maybe it's, if you're a hustler like Matt, maybe you're only paying 30%. Or for me, I pay 50%, but you guys have to pay shipping, and you guys have to prep it. You guys have to send it to me. So like, also consider that. Like, are you picking the books up from the library for the 30%?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you deserve that 70% because you're doing the legwork of going out.
Right.
And so consider these things when you decide what's the profit split going to be with your source. If your source is doing some of the work, you know, putting the books in a box, shipping the box to you, which ultimately I think you should be. Like, you could get libraries in Orlando to ship you books. in that case, they're probably not going to be happy with 30%.
Right.
To 50%. But so consider those things. A lot of people make the mistake of doing, oh, let's split profits 50-50. And then they're driving all the libraries or picking everything up. I'm like, you're doing way more work than a 50-50 split.
Yeah.
You know? So those are like things that everyone should consider. But with GoToLister, we're 100% going to have the option for you just to run your consignment reports from our software because that's something that I that's my business, you know, and I would love that. And enough people have kind of mentioned it to want to do it too.
There's a need.
Yeah. Somebody says, I sent you a private message in Messenger. Important. All right. White beard biker. Oh, is that Rags? It might be Rags. Rags, you should come on this podcast. Rags does, he's out of Little Rock, Arkansas. He rides motorcycles all day and fights sex slavery and sells books. He's a badass. Luke says, I hate change. I use a debit card. Any last words for the people before we end this? You know, people are out there, they think they're too busy. You're like the epitome of somebody who's extremely busy. I'm a young 20-something, and I'm out here like, I feel like I didn't even work enough today. Granted, I woke up kind of late today. I woke up at 11. But you're a firefighter, dad, husband. You're out doing a lot of things. You're still able to crank out 5K plus months.
Yeah. I would say just it doesn't have to be 20 hours a week. You could do an hour a day, 2 hours a day. I usually spend an hour to 2 hours sourcing and then maybe another hour to 2 hours packaging and shipping. It really doesn't take that much time to be able to feed the beast, you know. Set goals of 1 box, 2 box, 3 box, 5 boxes, whatever you're going to send each week. And then again, just talk to people, build those relationships. If you're one of those people that really don't like interacting, don't like talking to people, if you want to make money, you got to come out of your shell. It's time to have diarrhea of the mouth. Talk to them about anything and everything.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, you know, go in the store whenever you're most talkative. Is it right after your coffee? Is it
right
in the morning? Because late afternoon, a lot of times I don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
You know, but early in the morning, I'm all caffeined up. I'll talk to people. So also consider things like that too.
And they don't want to hear you at the end of the day. They want to go home.
Exactly. Yeah. Consider their state of mind too. I want to know if stores like Half Price Books are worth scanning. Yeah. Used bookstores, it doesn't matter what the price is. My partner for Restricted Inventory, who sells all of our textbooks now, he does like 5 million plus a year. His account's immune to being restricted. So if you guys send us books, don't worry about account shutdowns or anything like that. But he started going to McKay's years ago, and his big thing, and Half Price Books, and his big thing was, I don't care if I have to pay $30 for a book if it's going to make me 60 back. Whereas a lot of people are just like, I'm only going to buy the $1 to $5 books. Who cares if you buy 5 or 6 $5 books for $30 or one $30 book that's going to net you the same? At the end of the day, it's like, what are you paying for the inventory and how much you're going to make? And online arbitrage sellers really understand this. You know, we spend tens of thousands of dollars a month on inventory because we know it's going to come back to us more. You know, so
doing the eBay to Amazon flips is a perfect example. You know, go to a thrift store, you spend $1-2 on a book, or you go on eBay, spend $8 to $10, but your profit is so much higher with that $10 book.
Yeah.
I've actually gone into the other websites like Half Price Books or Book Run or one of those and gone searching through their inventory. And depending on the app that day and my computer, I could scan the barcode right off the screen and just go through books pretty quickly. And I found some really profitable books that I've, you know, spent 10, 15, 20 bucks, but I've sold them for 50, 60 bucks, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So your resources aren't just libraries and thrift stores.
Yeah. There's so many ways to find profitable products. You've been going pretty heavy in eBay to Amazon?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot more of it. I've actually got a VA now, and I have her strictly doing all of my eBay searches.
Heck yeah. That's awesome.
And I've reset my filters, so they're all higher end books now. And that way I'm making the bigger profit on them when I do sell them.
Heck yeah. And you went through Steve's course?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I haven't been through
great course.
Yeah. I check his GoToLister account. I have his password. And I can just see this guy's cranking out like he'll do 50,000 in sales and he'll be making 15,000 profit.
Right.
So he's operating on really healthy margins, 30% margins. So if you guys want to consider eBay, Amazon, I'll put a link below if you guys want to learn more about it. But Steve's been helping tons of people. Steve, I think last year, what did he do in sales? 300,000 last year?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah, he made about 100K profit. So, and he's like doing so many other things on the side. Like he's a social media, building YouTube channel, like all this stuff. And he's still able to have his VAs go out and find this stuff.
Right.
So,
And he's transitioning now with a lot of electronics on his eBay to Amazon flips.
yeah, he's even learning traditional OA, like what I do. He's learning some of that too. So,
Yeah, I'm trying to get a little bit of that going.
endless opportunity out there to find products.
Absolutely.
Endless. It's just nobody wants to put the work in. Get to the library early.
Yeah, and that's the thing is a lot of people see a video and they think passive income, I don't have to do anything. It's still work. You still have to put in the effort. The amount of effort you put in will be dictated in your rewards.
Oh, somebody's putting you on the spot. Linda's putting you on the spot. We had Joel and another kind of pessimist. We have our pessimists in our Facebook group, and they're always
I saw that earlier.
They're always thinking, nobody's making money. What are you willing to share? What your profit is in that 5,000?
So I'm doing right around 38% profit. Depending
very
on
precise.
Well, and one of the
38.
biggest things is I get a good majority of my books for free.
Yeah.
So that plays a big role, and I've been a lot more selective on the books I'm getting. I'm not doing the $2 profit books anymore. The minimum I'll do is a $5 to $6 book.
I'm not saying you're a pessimist, Linda. There was two pessimists earlier in the Facebook group, Joel and Mark, who commonly, I don't know why, they just say selling books on Amazon is not profitable. They just have, maybe they're making profit and they don't want other people to make profit, something like that. But
listen, every time I see Steve post something that the eBay to Amazon stuff doesn't work, that people say it's a fraud and everything else, I jump in and my first comment is they're absolutely right. They should stop right away. Just give up altogether, because that's less people I got to compete with.
It's actually ridiculous if you think, like, if you truly put effort in towards running an Amazon business, no matter what it is, and nobody treats it like a job. Nobody's putting 8 hours, 10 hours in a day to doing this. Most of us are just doing this part-time on the side. Even me, like I did 28,000 profit last month, and I'm doing all these other things. If you truly commit yourself 100%, 10 hours every day, you treat it like a job, you treat it like you clock in, clock out, you would be surprised, like the amount of results that you would get, the amount of profit you could make, the amount of money, how much more money you can make than working a regular job if you put the effort in that you put into your job. If you put the effort in that you wake up in the morning, you get your coffee, you clock in, you put in all the hours, but nobody does that. Nobody's at thrift store scanning 10 hours a day. 0 people in the comments. You're at thrift store scanning 10 hours a day. When I was working hard, I would go for 4 hours a day, and I was exhausted, and I would make $500 profit a day scanning 4 hours a day at thrift stores. So people think it should be easy. People think it should be passive, and part of that's because there are a lot of marketers on the internet that sell it that way. But look at it the flip side. It's not easy. You have to put the work in. But if you do put the work in, you're going to get fucking paid.
Yep, absolutely. Your success is directly related to your effort.
100%. Well, with that, we'll end. Thank you so much, Matt, for coming on. And
thanks for having me.
You're in the Facebook group, so people can send you a friend request maybe. You don't have any socials right now, right?
Not enough.
Okay.
When
you do, hit me up. We'll link it below.
Okay.
For you.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt.